Okay, so welcome everyone to today's video. We looked at how we can find the total and the average. So today we want to find the average of the best six. In other words, we want Excel to pick the best six subjects from this list of subjects and find the average of those best six subjects. And then after that, we are going to look at the average grade. In other words, if you look at the score of the average, what is the average grade from our list here to say if it's 85 and above, it's A, 75 and up to 65, it's B up to 0 to 49, which is F. So let's look at that. Now, we already looked at the total, whereby we used the sum function to say is equal to sum, open bracket, then we select all these columns. So it means we are finding the sum of B3 to J3. Then close bracket, press enter. So this is the sum of all these subjects. Now let me copy this formula down. To copy this formula down, you come to the right bottom corner and your cursor changes to a black cross, and then you click the left mouse button and you copy down the formula up to that one. So that's the sum function, finding the total. Then on the average, you do the same. You type is equal to average, open bracket. We are also finding the average of all these subjects. Okay, B3 to J3. You close and then you press enter. That's the average. But I don't really like these decimal numbers. I want these ones to be whole numbers. So to do that, I'm going to round these numbers to the nearest whole number. So to round these numbers to the nearest whole number, we are going to combine the average function with the round function. So to combine that, we are going to say is equal to average, we're going to say is equal to round, open bracket. We are rounding the average, so we are going to say is equal to round, then average, open bracket. So we're going to select the numbers. Okay, so we are rounding the average of B3 to J3, close bracket, to 0 number of digits. In other words, we are rounding the average of B3 to J3 to the nearest whole number. Okay, so to do that, here it's 81. So we're going to copy this formula down. Remember, it's is equal to round, open bracket, average B3 to J3, comma 0, close bracket. The 0 represents 0 decimal places or the nearest whole number. B3 to J3, these are the numbers, it's a range of numbers that we want to round or to find its average. So we copy this formula down. Okay, so I think that's better. I like the whole numbers than the these decimal numbers. Then here we want to find the average of the best 6 subjects. To find the average of the best 6 subjects, we want to use the large function and the average function. Now, if we say is equal to average, it means we want to find the average of the numbers, but we want only those numbers that are large. In other words, we want Excel to pick the largest numbers. How many? We want it to pick 6 largest numbers from this list from B3 to J3. It should pick a list of those large numbers and then find the average of those large numbers. So we're going to say is equal to average, open bracket, large, open bracket. Then we need to select array of numbers. So we are going to select from B3 to J3. Then, okay, before we close, now we are having that array of numbers, but we want to tell Excel how many numbers do we want to pick. So before we close, we need to tell Excel. To tell Excel, the K here, it is representing how many large numbers do you want. So we want 6, but we are not going to say 6. We are going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if it's only 1, you just type 1. But if it's two more numbers, you type open curly bracket, then you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you type close curly bracket. After the curly bracket, then you can close with your close bracket, and then you also close with another one. Here you are having 2 open brackets. Here you also close with 2 close brackets. So remember this one, the numbers that are enclosed in the curly brackets represents how many numbers you want Excel to pick. So we want it to pick 6 numbers. B3 to J3 is the range of numbers where Excel has to select from. Then you press enter. You can see here it is saying that the average here is equal to 86.1667. Let's verify if that's true. Let's verify if that is true. If you pick these numbers, you are having 92, then you are also having another 92 here. You are also having another you are having 86, 87, 82. How many I have selected? 5. Then we have the largest one, another one is 75. Now, I'm having 1, 2, 3, 4, should not be 75, should be 78. Okay, so I'm having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers that are the largest numbers from this list. Now, if you look down here, it is saying the average is 86.1666, like that. Count is showing 6. Sum is 517 of those 6 numbers. So you can see that our formula is correct. It has managed to pick 6 numbers from this list and find the average of those numbers. So you can copy this formula down. Okay, so we have managed to pick the best 6 subjects from this list of subjects and find the average of these best 6 subjects. Now, remember we said we don't like these decimal numbers. How can we modify this formula so that we can have only whole numbers? So we can modify this formula by adding the round function. Okay, so in our next video, we are going to look at how we can modify this formula so that we can only have our whole numbers, as well as how can we find the average grade of this. So thank you for your time. In our next video, we are going to modify our average numbers of the best 6 and how to find the average grade.